Hello there. I'm hoping people are there. I am. All right, let's see here. Oh, hi, Lizette. I'm trying out all these new things on the computer, and I was making sure that I'm in the group and not on my own private page. Good. All right. So let's make sure I have things where I want them to be. Move this over here. Hello, Sharon. And I am going to move my body over here and check my computer all at the same time. There we go. I didn't chop my head off. That's what I wanted to make sure. Sometimes when I'm doing a setup, I try to use something behind me, and today it worked. Anyway, great. I'll give people a few more seconds or minutes to start to tune in, and then I will chat a little bit. Those of you who are early, I'm very excited. I just got an email from Handwoven Magazine, and one of my patterns I submitted is going to be used. So I'm excited about that. Just have to get the paperwork done. So that's fun. All right. All right. Many people said they would like to come, but they are busy tonight, and I know how that is. So we'll just get started. And as some of you know, this is recorded. You can go back and watch it at a later date. I usually keep my things on for about 30 days, and then I take them off. But what I'm also doing is I'm downloading them and I'm posting them on my YouTube channel. So you can also check that out later. All right, well, as you can see, I have some bands around my neck right now, so to speak. And I want to explain a little bit as to why I'm going to be using a rigid Heddle loom. A couple years ago, one of the women in our guild, and sorry I'm a little bit farther away, but I have to try to do this on my own. You can see this. She came in and showed us these really cool bands she did with pickup. They're Norwegian pickup technique. And she had this loom made by Gilmore that was called a wave loom. And she was able to put the strings close together, the heddles, and basically just move the shafts up and down. However, this little loom is one by Gilmore that they're very expensive, and I don't think they make very many of them. So I was trying to figure out what I can do instead. I've tried ankle weaving, don't like the ankle loom, and I've also done the card weaving, turning the cards, drove me nuts. I've done all those things. I wanted to find something that wasn't quite as challenging. So I found out that a rigid Heddle loom works very nicely. I happen to like the Kromsky I ordered. It's a 9-inch, I think it's a 9 or an 8-inch width, because that's all I was going to do. But some of you, if it's new to weaving, I just want to remind everyone else that you can still weave coasters, and you can still weave scarves and all those kinds of things on a rigid Heddle loom. And many of you already do that, and that's maybe what you're doing already. Now, I'm going to try to make it a little bit easier than this particular one, or even the ones that I have around my neck. These are also fun to do, and you can do them. However, when you're doing a lot of different colors like that, you have to change the colors and cut and tie on and cut and tie on. So I created a new pattern that doesn't involve that. But if you don't want to start there, you can just put all one color on. Or, I don't know if you can see this one or not. If you can see that the edges are brown and the center's kind of a rust color, that's something else you can do. Because when I'm doing a direct warping method, when you're doing a direct warp method, then everything's in sets of 2. And I'm, again, trying to make it easier for everyone. You could use a warping board, but why? You can do a direct warp. So I'm going to explain why I did that. So you could do something like this, and I think I dropped. Well, you can also do stripes also. So you could also do like green, blue, red, and do those in sets of 2. But I did something a little different. I made up my own pattern. But if you really want some inspiration, the book that I have here underneath the computer, this book is so inspirational. So many, many, many patterns in it. And what I noticed was the patterns, they are using an odd number of threads. And again, as you're doing that, the odd number, well, that doesn't work necessarily if you're doing a rigid heddle again and doing the direct warping and it's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, cut 2, whatever you want to do. So what I do is I changed one of the patterns, basically for my own purpose. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you that. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the reeds. Now, a lot of times reeds when you get your rigid heddle loom are 8 dent. This is an 8 dent reed. This one's, I believe, my 16-inch loom. You could use this, or you could use, I know we're doing something very narrow, you could also use a 24 width. But what I recommend, if you can get your hands on one, this is a 15 dent reed. Now, I have a Kromsky loom. This is made by Ashford. It happens to fit my loom. The reason I suggest doing as small as you can is that you're going to be threading your loom and everything's going to be kind of wide, and then when you're weaving, you're going to have to pull it together. So if you have a reed that is narrow or fewer ends per inch, you don't have to pull it in as much, and you'll see me doing that in 2 weeks. I'm going to use a 12 dent today, just because most of us have a 12 dent, and getting a 15 dent, it might be a little challenging, but I think they're making more of those available to everyone. All right, if you're making any comments, I'm not seeing them right now, but that's okay. Like I said, I can't talk and watch the screen. I know some of you do that pretty well, and I don't do it as well. All right, I am going to double check my paper here and see if I forgot anything. Oh, the yarn I'm going to be using. Today, I'm going to be using cotton, and this one is 3-2 cotton. It's a mercerized cotton. That's what I'm going to use in the warp. And then in my weft, when I weave next week, I'm going to use a narrower 5-2. It's just my preference, and I also match the selvages. So whatever the edges are, that's what I like to weave with. So if you are learning, you know, you get a little bump here or there, the color kind of hides itself. I also want to let you know when I did my very, very first one, well, keeping it even was a challenge. It wasn't, this is pretty even. Mine went in and out and in and out and in and out. It was a mess. So what I did was I cut it up and I made a lot of bookmarks for people. And I also made those into key rings. So if you're learning, that's something else you can do. All right, hi Tina. I am now going to go over to the loom. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, we're just going to keep on rolling. All right, now, the loom. Hopefully I have it at an angle you'll be able to see what's going on. Hopefully, that's the plan. This is a learning curve for me. I normally weave on floor looms. And my challenge for the year was to do a little more weaving with a rigid heddle loom. Now, I'm not sure what people use to thread their looms. The Kromsky comes, and the new Presto comes with this kind of a hook at one end and one at this end. The other looms come with a hook here. I use that for the slot. And on the other end, it's a loop. It's a loop. See who else I have. Hi, Karen. Yeah, I sent Karen asked for the pattern. So if anyone wants the pattern, I do have that available to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the center color and again, show you the pattern so you can see what that looks like. I'll hold that up there. So the pattern, the center one, there's a turquoise. I put a turquoise in the middle. And what my plan is, and I always love doing things live, I prefer recording things, is that I'm going to do the first one and I'm going to tie it through the center hole. But to make my life easier, I am then going to go to the one side and doing 2 at a time. So I'll do white, 1 white, and then I'll change to the black, and I'll do several sets of black, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then I'll do 4 of the turquoise, and I'll end with the black. Hopefully I'll get all of that done. So this might be like watching water boil, but we'll see how well I do with this. See if I'm all thumbs or not tonight. Like I said, I'm going to start with the turquoise. I've found out that there's several different methods for warping your rigid Heddle loom, and I happen to like this new one I found. I already decided this is about 2 yards. So I measured that from the loom back to the peg, and I have a pencil mark. I tend to put a pencil mark kind of in the center. So I am going to, like I said, start with the hole in the middle. The other problem when you're doing, guess what? I forgot. I can't use that. I have to use my wire. See, I've already showed you how inexperienced I am with rigid Heddle weaving. All right, so I'm going to bring that through. And since I only have the one, I'm going to knot it at the one end. I know you can't see this far away, but hopefully you understand what I'm doing. Don't have the handy-dandy gentleman helping me. All right, so now I have that. Now I have to cut that. And guess what? I forgot to bring scissors over. I'm back. All right. I always want to be prepared, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this one and tie that in the middle there. If anyone has a better method or a better idea, I'm always welcome those ideas from people. You know how you experiment and you try things. So now I'm going to tie that one in the middle because it's the only thread like that. So that one's there. Now back to my pattern. Okay, so now I am going to go from one side. I'm going to start with the white. This time I'm going to do slots. You're welcome, Kathy. So we are going to tie the first one on here on the back. And now this time, I'm going to go through on the bottom. I might just do half of this tonight. We'll see. I'm going to go through the bottom. I'm going to take it through the slot. And over there. And now I have that one done. Now I can leave that on there, and because I'm going to do white again, so I can just kind of leave that dangle in the back. Just want to make sure it doesn't get caught on the other one. So I'm going to move that to the side. And next we go to, this is where I have to make sure. Next I have, so there's the 2. The hole in this, but I'm just doing a slot. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 10 black. But again, we're counting by 2s. Hi, Anne. Anne's the expert at doing rigid Heddle weaving. So I hope you get to see her. I don't know if you heard, Anne, if you were a little late, I just got one of my other patterns that I made. It's a skull pattern. Handwoven Magazine has accepted it for, I think it's going to be on the an issue, not in the hard copy, but on the internet copy. So I was all excited about that. All right, so here we go. We can get that through. And there's some of you have, now this is where the problem is. You have the white one beside there, and it's going to want to join the black one. So guess what, folks? Because I don't like that, I have to move it away. Get out of my way. There we go. It's out of the way. All right, back to moving this one over. In that slot. Now we have another one. Do it through. 2, 4. And 6. Eight. And 10. Okay, now again, so I can, well, you know what? I'm actually, as I'm looking at my pattern, I'm going to leave the white there because I'm going to do it on the other side. If I wanted to, I could have cut it off, and I will cut it off when I do the other side. I just noticed that. So now I'm going to do the turquoise. I'm going to move the black, make sure it doesn't get tangled. Kind of move that over there. Now, and I need 4 or 2 sets. I guess I could have allowed that, let that on there, but I like to not get things too tangled. Okay. So we go through here. If you wanted to do cut and tie, you could also do that with all of those different colors. I had a young friend come over here last week, and she did a more complicated pattern. And what we actually did was she actually threaded the holes and the slots all at the same time. It was much easier that way for her pattern to do it that way. So we needed 4 here. So I need to do 1 more here. And now this time I'm going to then I am going to cut this one off because I don't want it to get tangled in the other side. So I'll cut that one off and we will tie it. I don't know about the rest of you, but it seems like as I get older, my fingers just don't want to do what they used to do. Wanted to get done so we can make our, oh, I'm reading something else here. We got things that are popping up in between things, and I don't need that. So, all right, there we go. All right, now I'm going to do the black. And according to my pattern, we need 2 sets of the black. I'm going to go in here. 2. Watch my time here. And there's that white one. Wants to keep getting caught in that, doesn't it? So annoying. There we go. I'm sure other people chat to themselves when they're doing things like this. And we will, another one here. And that is half of it. So at the moment, I actually have half of that one, half of this ready. That's where we are, kid. And definitely cut this off, tie it on. All right, so half of that's finished. And now, show you where I am on the pattern. So what I've done so far is I did the one half. Now I'm going to do the other half, and that'll be all finished in a moment or two. Let me get rid of this. I can move that white one out of here. All right, so we need to bring that over and through. And now we can get that annoying white one out of the way. It's been giving me problems. The pickup patterns that I showed you at the beginning, if I decide I want to do those again, I will do a demonstration on that, but it's been so long, and sometimes after you do something once, it's like, okay, I've been there, done that. All right, now it's time to do the other half. So if you want to stick with me as I do that, watching the time here. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to tie the black on. You can do this with just about any rigid Heddle loom. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. Again, if you have more space, it's nice that you can have more area to weave. Whoops. Well, I must have my hook doesn't want to do its thing here. There we go. There we go. One, actually two, and do 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I guess you can see all of that. All right. And now we have turquoise. So we're going to switch to the turquoise. Did you say what yarn? Oh yeah, this is cotton. This happens to be mercerized cotton. You can get all sorts of pretty colors out there. And this happens to be 3-2. When I first did it, I used, it was a linen blend. It was so soft and thick. So that was my practice. I did a couple of those with practice. I always like to start with heavy yarn when I'm learning something. It doesn't take as long to warp something, and I feel like I get more done in a quicker results, I guess. Just gonna move the black out of the way. All right, so we have 4 of these. First time I did rigid Heddle, I had the cones in the middle and had to loop them over. I didn't like the way that warping method. So if you're new to rigid Heddle or any kind of weaving, just keep finding different ways that people put yarn on a loom. There's not just one way, there's many ways out there. And I think warping the loom, from what I hear, can be more challenging than many other things for people for some reason. A little more time consuming. We all want to sit down and get the weaving done. Or get to the weaving, I should say. All right, so now I have, one more. And now we just have the black to do. How wide will your finished band be? That'll probably be about about this wide. Might be a little, it'll probably be a little narrower than this one, which is about 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches. And next week I'll be weaving that, showing you how narrow it can be. And it depends on also how much you pull it in, but that's approximately what it'll be. All right, so 2 more, or 4 more, I should say. Now the one end looks a little messy, but that's going to be part of the waist. The other thing, just like any other kind of weaving, you need to remember that there's going to be some waist going on. So you calculate that in. I think I have the approximately how much yarn you need, or I can do that estimate and let you know what that is as well. All right, so that's the last one. This, I think, is 39, it's either 39 or 37. Whoops, didn't cut that off right. 39 or 37 threads. Okay. Yeah, so you can see right now how wide that is now. So when I'm going to be weaving, I'm really going to pull it in on that. Now the other thing, need to have something to, I have my cardboard here. Let's see, approximately how wide? So I have just checking the questions there. Now, the next thing is to wind it on. And what I like about having a loom, something on a stand, is that you can wind it and you can either have your peg move or your loom move toward it. It gives a little bit of stability to it. Now I'm done with this. These are little cords that were used to keep that in place. Again, that's something, maybe some of you have used those before. I thought that was wonderful. And the reason why I like this loom, see it's already starting to move away from me, is that it's a metal gear on it. Again, that's mine. So I'm getting to about that point. I'm going to try to move this up so keep you in maybe a little bit on the line there. The other nice thing about this is that you can hold on the tension with one hand. When you have wider ones, you have to come up with other ways of doing that. All right, so I'm going to here. Trying to get the pressure on this side so you can kind of see what's happening. I'm holding it here, tension, and right now the loom is moving toward the peg. If you don't have that, you can also clamp it to a table. I'll bring a little bit closer, and I'm also putting a little tension on here as well. Oh, it's stuck on, there we go. And now it's time to take it off. Okay, take it out of the way. All right, so we have that much done. Now, watching the time here, I'm just going to kind of do a little quick thing. Many of you have threaded your rigid Heddle loom at other times, and what I would normally do now is I could start from the middle, which would probably be a good idea on this one, and typically I would cut, you could do them all at one time or one at a time, and this is how I do it, and sometimes I stand to do it. So right now I have 2 in the slot. Let me bring it a little bit closer to the camera here. You can see it. All right, so I have 2 in the slot. So what I like to do is I like to take the one out, kind of hang it over, and then I would go into the hole, which side I'm on here? I would go into the hole on that side, put my thread through it, the loop, pull the loop through, and now I have one in the hole and one white one in the slot. And then what I would do, I would continue to do that. Sometimes you can snip them all, but if for some reason the reed falls on the floor, all the work that you've done, you have to do it all over again. Speaking from experience. So if you just want to cut one at a time, you can do that. And like I said, what I like to do, we all have our ways of doing things. To the side, take my looper through, or if you had something else, I'm putting it through the loop and pulling it through. And then what I would do is I'm going to continue with all that process, and then my plan is for next week is I'll tie it on and I'll start showing you how I do the weaving of it. I am now going to move the camera back. And it looks like I got done with what I wanted to get done. Cool. All right. And let's see. We got a little glare there, but we'll just deal with it. Hi, Tony. All right. So we have more people that tuned in. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm totally out of my comfort zone, so this was one way to force me to do something that I don't do a lot of, and I'm doing it. Hey, yay for me. All right, anyone else have any questions? Again, you can send me messages. Next session is in 2 weeks. Basically, Teddy's doing another one next Tuesday night at the same time. I think she's doing classic weaving on little looms. You could do the same thing on the Richard Heddle loom. And then I'm going to come back with weaving, and then the last one will be kind of finishing or things you can do with your with all the different ankle bands that you have. Anyway, so thank you so much for watching, everyone. And again, if you have any questions, send me a message. I'd be happy to answer them. Have a good rest of your day wherever you are, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care.